Hey guys, Ora here. You've requested it, so we're gonna do it. We are starting the Raid Guide series, and as you guys probably guessed by the thumbnail, first installment, the Tarragrue. Now, the Tarragrue doesn't actually give you any all-star points, so you don't need to stress too much about logging here and improving your performance. Obviously, please do, like I am doing the same, but don't worry too much as the fight isn't really ranked. The reason for this is because of the RNG element with the anima powers. For quite a large portion of this fight, you are being augmented by anima powers like you would in Torghast or in Mythic Plus, but they are randomly generated. There is the opportunity for you to change them by clicking on pylons just outside of the Tarragrue encounter area, but depending on your raid group and what you're after and who needs what powers, because there are some that are mandatory for the group, I won't go into them all here because unfortunately there are a lot of powers where they might be useful and things like that, so please go look at Wowhead if you want a list of the powers. But depending on your raid group, you may not actually be allowed to reroll. There's been a few times where my guild has basically just said, if you're late to raid, even if you're late by a minute or 2 minutes, you ain't getting any powers, they just pull. So one of my Tarragrue kills in my logs, I pulled, what was it, 7k DPS, I think, and I didn't even pass, but I pulled that without any anima powers. So, still, pretty good, but you don't need to worry too much about it. So, we'll go into the video, and while we go into it, I'll discuss various little mechanics and stuff that you need to bear out for, and how as a paladin we can potentially abuse those mechanics to give us the extra damage that we want. I will say at the very, very start of this, however, that all of the videos within this series were recorded in one night in a social raid, because my guild is now progressing Mythic, so we are now spending our Wednesdays and Sundays in Mythic. So heroic raids are now either Pug'em or we do them with the socials in the guild, which results in some interesting pulls, let's put it that way. But not to spoil any surprises, some of the bosses got a bit spicy, which is quite funny. So we will swap to the main screen and we will get this show on the road. So yeah, Tarragrue's already at 84% health. Unfortunately, I was a little bit slow on hitting the record button. Right, this first mechanic, casting Mist, you can see there's a different coloured area, a lighter part of the floor. Everywhere else is black. You need to stand in this lighter zone. But aside from that, it is just a run to the clear zone thing. Now, as a paladin, you can, if you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable, use Cavalier for this, because they come infrequently enough to enable you to make full use of Divine Steeds. However, I find that just having the one is beneficial, and having Unbreakable Spirit to be able to get potentially 2 Divine Shields off during this is much better. Now, as you can already see, certain people in the Great Raid are going down, and they are our socials. They're getting stood in stuff. Now, there is element to an AoE fear. They are the purple rings that you might see around me at certain points. And it's just called fear. So you can have Shaman's Totem it, or if you really don't want to be affected by it, you can pick up an anima power that makes you immune to fears and stuns, which if you pick that up also means that you can help negate a mechanic called chains. Now, chains will target an individual and they have a blue arrow above their head, and actually just while I discuss change, I'll pause because this is another mechanic. Chains, the Tarragrue will then pull that target towards them and stun them, doing an incredible amount of damage. However, you can actually have someone intercept those chains, and intercepting those chains will then result in the person that intercepted them being pulled in and stunned but if you're immune to the stun, you don't take any damage. It becomes a non-factor. This particular ring that I'm in, however, the boss spawns 3 different types. This black one is a physical damage debuff that needs to be soaked, so tanks can't touch this one. There's a red one which is fire, which is a ticking a dot, essentially. A ramping dot as they take more stacks. Now, because the tanks are constantly getting healed, the tanks are quite comfortable to take that one. The purple one, however, increases the magic damage you take. So, generally speaking, as DPS, you're going to be absorbing black and purple. And in doing so, you might want to pick up the Anima Power Unstable form, which allows you to drop stacks. So you can see I have 5 stacks. And you can drop those with Unstable form as you're doing abilities. Now, one thing that you can do is during Mist, if you cast Divine Shield just before the first cast, you can immune 2 of them, which is what I did there. I immuned 2 and then stood in the third where it was safe. Now, because I have 5 stacks of the physical debuff and I have a debuff, a ticking debuff where I'm doing damage, or taking damage rather, I did not want to soak the purple because it increases the magic damage I take, which would make this debuff, this dot debuff that I have, much more dangerous for me. And you can see it is chunking me. Now, this is the thing I said about chains. You can immune it, but as a paladin, we can bubble or bop it. And in bopping it, I don't need to move and I'm immune to the damage. So I didn't have to run to the assigned location behind the tanks. Now, some of you guys asked what the way to use cooldowns would be for this fight. Now, for Tarragrue, use your cooldowns as normal. Use them off cooldown. But one thing you do want to be wary of is when the boss gets to 10% health. And the reason for that is, I was just checking how much strength I had at this point, seeing if I'd broken the 3,000 strength mark, because I'm at 2,992 strength. And there we are, I've broken the 3,000 strength barrier, and I'm at 3,381, briefly. But yeah, as I was saying, so at 10% health, the Tarragrue will rip your anima powers out of you, and this basically becomes a kill or be killed situation, because this is the boss's soft enrage, or hard enrage. No, soft enrage, because Berserk is still 241 away. Now, you will find that your cooldowns come up around the time that he's about 15 to 10% health, or at least I do at this point. Hold until after he's ripped your anima powers out of you. Otherwise, you're going to be in a problem. Now, you can see there that I took aggro, or tried to kite out. I didn't have Bop and I didn't have Divine Shield. If I had Divine Shield, there would have been a perfect time to Divine Shield and then taunt again, which would buy the rest of the group time. Because unfortunately, that last 10% health, it is a kiting fight. So maintaining your uptime and trying to keep on top of the boss is a challenge. So you can use Sacrifice, you can use Shield of Vengeance, you can, if you still have it and didn't greed like I did, you could have bopped and bubbled. You could have bopped a tank and had them immediately taunt while the bop's on them. Or you could bubble. You could bubble taunt, bop the tank, and that gives everyone or the other healers a chance to get their tank up, or get externals rolling, or the tank to get in a bad position to be able to continue the fight. So, yeah, right. That is the first of the Tarragrue series. Hopefully this is kind of what you wanted. I'm not particularly good at giving raid guides. I kind of do my own thing quite a lot. But either which way, please comment below. And if you did like it, like and subscribe. And I will catch you very shortly in the next one. Catch you shortly, folks.